There's this one product type that is making Etsy sellers thousands of dollars every single month. And it's something that you can get started with today. If you've seen any of my stuff before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of focusing on products that will help you stand out from the crowd. So looking away from things like t-shirts, mugs, and sweatshirts. So let's have a look at this product, and then we'll go through step by step how you can apply my PODOS methodology to create your very own Etsy success story starting today. So I've been a bit quiet on YouTube recently, and there's actually a reason for that. Actually, let me just show you what it is. I've got a kid now. Having him has obviously changed my life in so many ways, and definitely for the better. Right, kiddo? But it's also opened my eyes to a whole new market. Baby and kid stuff. Who knew such a little human could need so much stuff, huh? And when we were decorating his nursery, we wanted some things that were aesthetically pleasing, fit the vibe of our home, and were unique, something that not everyone else had. And that's how I came across something called pennants. And basically pennants are flag-like things that you can hang around your house as decor. Okay, but why pennants, Danny? Let me tell you why. But before we do, you're not interested in Etsy, are you? No, didn't think so. I'll be right back to tell you why. All right, so where were we? So why pennants? Well, a few different reasons. First off, they're different, they're unique. Not everyone is doing them, right? They're a good alternative to something like a classic poster or an art print that you might buy and put on a wall. Secondly, they make a great gift. If you've ever seen any of my videos before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of taking advantage and making most of what Etsy really is trying to promote itself for, and that is for being a gifting platform. And I think that these pennants make really good gifts. You know, when we're talking about for a nursery or baby perspective, it could make a great, unique baby shower gift, for example. But I think there's a whole lot of other ways that you could use these pennants as gifting opportunities, not only for babies. Another reason why I like them is because of the profit margins. As you'll see in a few minutes, you can actually make some decent profit off of pennants by selling them through platforms such as Printify. And then lastly, and this is probably the main reason why I'm such a big fan of these things, is because it fits really well into my PODOS system that I've started to develop. PODOS stands for Print on Demand on steroids. I don't know why that's stuck, but it has. But the idea here is that you're doing something called print on demand, but you're going a step further than all the other print on demand sellers out there, and you're offering something bespoke and unique to your customers. You need to put in a little bit more work than your competitors, but at the end of the day, because you're providing more value, you're going to have a better product to offer to your potential buyers. If you don't know what print on demand is, I actually have another video which I'll link up there or there, wherever, which explains print on demand in basic terms. So go check that out after this video if you're not quite sure what it is. Okay, so with PODOS, my underlying principle, again, is that you're going a step further than other print-on-demand sellers. And one really big underlying principle around this is that you're offering truly bespoke and unique products to your customers, ones that they can hopefully try to personalize and make their own as much as possible. So let's do a little bit of research. And to do that, what I like to do is literally go to Etsy and type in, to start with, the very generic keyword that we're looking for. So in this case, pennant, and seeing what shows up, right? And scrolling through, getting inspiration, seeing what's doing well, what's not. You can usually tell by what's doing well and what's not if they have a little badge next to it here. So if it says popular now or bestseller, that's Etsy essentially indicating that this is hot right now, this is doing well. So it gives you a little bit of an indication. And what I actually came across is this other product here. And I've blurred this listing out. I don't want people to start going out and copying what this seller's obviously doing very well. But we'll look at a couple of different things around it anyway. First and foremost, it's a bestseller. It's got a little bestseller badge on it. And in a nutshell, what it is, it's a pennant designed for a children's room or nursery. And it really just has kind of names on it. So the name of a child, and you have the ability to personalize it with the name of your child in a nice minimalist font. So it's quite simple, quite straightforward, and it's doing well on Etsy. And in terms of pricing, we can see here that it's selling for about $26. And then they also charge $6 for shipping as well. So approximately $31 is what they're actually charging for this. And now if you head over to a platform such as Printify, which is a print-on-demand provider, I've actually done a little bit of browsing and I've found that they actually have quite a similar pennant on their platform as well, which you can use to essentially create, design, and sell your very own pennants. And if you scroll down, there's one provider selling these at the moment. If I click on provider information, I get a breakdown of what their costs would be. So essentially what you would be paying for each pennant. And you can see here the price typically is $13.91. If you use Printify Premium, it's $10.23. And shipping within the US is $6.89. So if you go out to any kind of Etsy profit calculator, there's millions of them out there if you just Google for them. I've literally just picked a random one here. And I've jotted in these prices. So I've jotted in the sales price that that person selling that pennant for, the shipping price, and then what you're paying, right? I have Printify Premium, so it's $10.23, the shipping cost. This then leaves us with a total profit of just over $11 for each sale that we make. And that's a profit margin of about 36%, which comparably is actually quite high. I typically like to see kind of a 25% profit margin on all of my print-on-demand sales. So I like that this is a little bit higher, that there's potential to sell our products at a slightly higher profit margin than usual. But as I mentioned, we're going to do something slightly different to other print-on-demand sellers. We're going to do it on steroids, right? PODOS. That means we're going to take things a step further and do things that other print-on-demand sellers aren't usually doing. So what I'm imagining, let me show you on this little whiteboard over here, is I'm picturing to have a pennant. And then what I'm thinking is to have some form of like a cartoon animal at the bottom of the pennant. And then giving customers the opportunity to add a name, so in this case the name of a child, to the top of the pennant above that illustration. Now again, the idea here is to give customers a really bespoke, personalizable experience. So what I'm going to do on top of this is I'm going to give them the opportunity to choose from an array of different animal illustrations. So let's say, for example, someone is looking for a gift to buy for a child or for a baby shower, for example. That person that's gifting the item might want to pick a specific animal. So let's have a look at how we can actually do this in real life. I'm going to head over to Kittle, which is a great graphic design tool. And I'm going to click on New Project at the top up here. It's going to ask for an artboard size. I could just pick a generic artboard size, but actually what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're creating this in the exact format and dimensions for our pennant that we're later then going to upload to Printify. So I'm going to head back to Printify and I'm going to actually go on our pennant and click on Start Designing. And then as soon as I do that, it opens up our artboard within Printify. And then down here at the bottom, it tells us our print area size. Now this is the size that we want our artboard in Kittle to be. So 2925 by 3450. Let's see if I can remember that. And over here in Kittle, you can change the artboard size. So 2925 and 3450. I think that was correct, wasn't it? Yeah. Quite impressed with myself there actually. So we've got this. I'm going to change the resolution down here to 300 dpi. This is the recommended resolution when it comes to print on demand. And then I'm just going to simply click on create. And this has now created an artboard that is exactly the right size for us to later then import or upload onto Printify. Great, so we've got our Kittle artboard here. The first thing I would like to do is I want to actually play around or start playing around with understanding what our animal illustrations could look like. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're creating a set of illustrations that really match the tone that could be suitable for a, let's say, a baby's nursery. And then I also want to make sure that all of these different images are actually consistent and they're not just random sporadic drawings of different animals. We want customers to be able to see a set of different animals and to be able to choose which one they like the best. So what I'm going to do within Kittle is I'm going to go to the left-hand bar over here. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click on Kittle AI. And then there's an image generator at the top here. I'm going to click on that. And this basically lets us generate images using AI. And at the top here, you can actually describe what you want this image to show. And then below that, you can decide what kind of style you would like this image to be in. And if I click, for example, on image styles, show all, you can see there's a lot of different image styles to choose from, such as digital art or anime, for example. There's different clip art styles, and then there's also different vector styles as well that you can play around with. For the sake of this, there's actually a really useful one here for today's example, and that is that in clip art styles, I recently found that they have a nursery art option available, which is very handy for today's project. So I'm going to click on nursery art, and then I'm going to, at the top here, type in a smiling giraffe, and we're going to click on generate image, and we're just going to see what it comes back with. It's generating this using AI, so I have no idea what it's going to show us here. But as you can see, it's given us an image of a giraffe in this kind of traditional nursery style illustration. That's great. I really like that. I do think, however, that it looks pretty generic. This isn't something unique. I've seen these kind of images out there before, which is absolutely fine. A lot of people prefer these types of images, but I'm looking for something a little bit different, right? We want to do the PODOS method. So you could, if you wanted to, just continue generating this image using different styles or even with the same style. It's always going to give you something different, and you can play around and see which one suits you best. Or this is a feature I actually recently found. If you actually click on the image that you've just created and then click on the little Kittle Copilot button up here at the top, this opens up a little AI helping tool that you can use to make changes to your images, or it also lets you see suggested elements that are similar to the one you've just created. So you can see other different types of images that have previously been created in here. And I'm actually going to browse through these and see if I find one that kind of tickles my fancy a little bit more. And I kind of like this one. I'm going to click on this here and see what it looks like. Let me just make this small over here. And do you know what? I really like this. I think this looks pretty cool. I think this is different. It's got like a unique vibe to it. And I think this would go really well in our pennants and would suit like a kind of children's nursery vibe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this other one up here. Don't need that anymore. And I'm going to take this new illustration that we've got here, and I'm actually going to right click on this, and I'm going to select Save as Image Gen Style. And what this has now done is this has saved it as an image style that I want future images to look like whenever I go about generating new ones. And it saves over here in the saved styles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back, and I'm now going to go to this new tool that Kittle offers, which is called the Sets Generator. And the idea here is that you can actually create packs of different images in a consistent style, so that they all look more or less the same, or they're crafted in the same artistic style. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select our giraffe up here, and then down here I'm going to add some prompts. And I'm going to select what I want these images to show. So I'm going to say a smiling lion. Let's say a smiling meerkat and a smiling hippo. Let's start with that. Let's see what it comes back with. I'm going to click on Generate Set. And I have to say, folks, I'm Very impressed with the outcome, actually. These images look very much like that original source file that we provided as a style preset. And you can see they look consistent, right? I really like that. I think one change that I would like to make further down the line is I would like to change the colors of them so that they're not all necessarily in yellow, which is definitely possible. You can simply click on an image and you can select the image vectorizer over here on the right hand side, and you can select how many colors you want this to be in. So I could, for example, say I want this to be in 4 different colors, click vectorize image, and I can now go over here on the right and I can change the colors of this. So maybe I want the hippo to be like a light blue, for example. There you go. We now have a hippo in the light blue. And using this, what I can then do is I can, in my listing, for example, create a listing card where I provide customers with the option to choose from, let's say, 10 different animals, all in this unique style. Customers would then in checkout decide which animal they want on their final pennant print. All right, so let's create a template of what our pennant could actually look like as a finalized result. I'm going to get rid of some of these animals for now. So I'm going to delete, and let's just work with the lion for now. First thing I'm going to do with this lion is I'm going to scale it a little bit larger, and I'm going to remove the background over here on the right using the AI background remover so that there isn't a white background on this. And now essentially it's just a transparent background with this lion. And my vision is to have this lion kind of sat at the bottom here. And I want it to be quite centered, so I'm going to center it up here at the top right, like that. And then I'm envisioning having the name of the child over this lion at the top up here. So I'm going to go on the left and click on text. I'm going to click on headline, and it's quite small. So I've scaled it up, and I'm now going to center this as well. And let's put in a name here. Let's say, let's literally just say Jack, for example, for exemplary purposes. And now we can also work on this text as well, because I think this font looks nice, but it's a bit boring. So we can go over here to the typeface options, and we can select from millions of different options of font that we might want. So for example, I could pick this font here, which is a bit more of like a minimalist, old schooly type font. I kind of like that. And what you can then do with fonts is you can again offer the customer an array of different fonts or typefaces to choose from. So in this example here, I've listed 10 different fonts that they can pick a specific one from to essentially match the vibe that they're looking for with the product that they're trying to gift or buy for their own child. And yeah, if you want to give Kittle a try, I'd definitely recommend it. There's a link in the description below and in the comments. They have a free plan available, which is great. But if you want to check out their paid plans as well, if you use code ETSYDANIELYT, you'll get 25% off. So go have a look at it after this. And then we could even go another step further, and we could start playing around with the colors of this to again give the customer an opportunity to customize what the colors of this item are going to be. So I could, for example, click on the artboard, and then down here at the bottom, I can click on Browse Color Palettes. And Kittle actually has presets of different color palettes that you can use. What you can do instead as well is you could actually take, for example, the color of this lion. The main color is this yellow down here. So I'm going to take this color and copy the hex code. And I'm going to head over to a color palette generator tool, such as Coolers over here. I'm going to paste in this color over here. Click the little lock button, and then I'm simply going to hit the space bar, and you can click this multiple times and it'll always generate other colors that work really, really well with that original color, ones that will suit that color very, very well. So for example, I've clicked on it twice, and this Columbia blue is what it's called. This light blue has showed up. So I'm going to select this hex code. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to the Kittle editor. And I actually want to see what this background would look like in this blue. So I'm going to click on the artboard. I'm going to change the background color to this blue. And do you know what? I don't mind that. I think that looks kind of nice. And so you could go even a step further when it comes to offering this bespokeness or this customization. You could give the customer the option to customize the color of the pennant as well, right? By giving them a range of different colors to choose from as the background on their pennant. But for this example, I think I want a bit more of a neutral background. I actually like this French gray over here, a bit more of a gray lavender color. So I'm going to copy this hex code, come back to our Kittle editor, go back to our artboard, and find this blue color that we have for our background, and I'm going to paste in the new one. And there we go. I like this. I like the way it looks. So let's now have a look what this would actually look like on our pennant itself. And then we can always fine tune things if it doesn't look quite right. So I'm going to click on download at the top right. I'm going to leave the width, height, and resolution as is because we've already created the artboard in exactly the right size. And I'm going to click on download. We're then going to head back to Printify and we're going to upload our downloaded pennant. And as you can see, it's now added that artboard from Kittle onto our pennant here in Printify. We could now move this around, crop it if we wanted to, but we shouldn't have to because the artboard's already in the correct size. What we could do now at the top right, we could click on preview and have a look at what this would actually look like in real life via these mock-ups. And do you know what? I like the look of this. I think there's probably some tweaks and fine tuning you could do to this. Like you could change maybe the text. You could maybe add some shadowing to the text, for example. You could obviously work on the color of the lion themselves. There's different tweaks you could make, but I think for this example's purposes, this looks quite good. And again, you can offer the customer those opportunities to make this their own, to really customize this to however they want this to look. Now, obviously, this means more work for you, right? This is not as easy as just an automated print on demand. Someone places an order and it goes straight through to production. Yes, Printify will still deal with all of the fulfillment and the logistics of printing and creating this product for you, which is great. It means you don't need to store inventory. You don't need to deal with shipping and stuff like that. But of course, this does mean that you on your end do need to do some personalizations to really make this product bespoke to what the customer is looking for. The good thing is you can do this very easily and quickly as well. So I personally do this on one of my Etsy stores, and it takes me approximately 7 minutes per order to actually fulfill and personalize this product to however the customer actually wants it to be. So it's not as automated of a process as simple print on demand is, but that's what makes this special, and that's what makes it unique from others doing print on demand. Most print on demand sellers out there aren't taking the initiative to go that step further and offer something of real value to their customers, something that's bespoke and unique to them. And I believe that if you go that extra step further and actually take that initiative, invest a little bit of your time into that, it can really help you to set your mark on Etsy as a successful print-on-demand seller. Now, I'm sure you probably have questions about this and everything I've done so far, so please feel free to drop those questions in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them in the comments or maybe in a future video as well in a bit more detail. And if you haven't already, a few weeks ago, I spoke about a brand new Etsy shop that I've created using this PODOS method. Why not go check that out to learn a little bit more about how I personally actually do this for my own new store. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in that next video.